Hello, and welcome to another episode of Unrestricted Flavor. I'm your host, Mark Dirksing, and today we are going to make my chicken patties. So, honestly, this is the recipe that changed my life in a positive way. I'm not able to eat lunch meat. I'm not able to eat restaurant food, fast food. So it was really a struggle to figure out something that I could take on the go, something that was high in protein, something that was quick and easy, something that I could eat cold or hot. And so I went to work and came up with this chicken patty or chicken nugget recipe that I'm going to share with you today. My main goal in sharing this is, like I said, it's something that I can travel with, and as I'm about to venture on this little solo trip, I'll be needing this chicken patty on my travels. So if you've ever traveled with me, and a number of people out there have, they've seen the chicken patty or chicken nuggets before. Yeah, so it's something that has truly changed my life in a positive way. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so to start our chicken patty, first I need to explain, this is a 2-day process. So this isn't something that you can just whip up to get and throw together. It is a process. I usually spend my Sundays making these if I'm eating a lot through the week. But I tend to, whenever I have time, I make these, I put them in the freezer, I always have them. And so the first day is just kind of getting your ingredients together. You let them set overnight in the refrigerator to let the flavors kind of, I've made them where I haven't let them sit overnight and it just doesn't taste as good. So I highly recommend it. And then so what we're going to do is I'm going to do this in a couple videos. My first video will be just getting the ingredients together and then sitting them in the fridge. And then part 2 will be shaping them. I go ahead and dust them in rice panko, so I can't eat gluten. And I've tried gluten-free breadcrumbs, and I just don't really care for them. So I tried out rice panko, and you can find that in your Asian aisle in the grocery store. And it's amazing. It gives it an extra crunch. I truly feel like I'm eating fried chicken. So yeah, so that's another thing. And then essentially the ingredients that you are going to need to start is you'll need 2 large baked potatoes. You'll need 3 pounds of ground chicken. You'll need some sage, rosemary, and thyme. I like to go fresh. In Kroger, Meijer, most of the grocery stores, you can find a poultry seasoning mix, and it is the rosemary, sage, and thyme. You just put that in your chicken. You can use an optional lactose-free cheddar cheese, or you can do a smoked cheddar or Gouda. I've done it in a variety of different ways. It just changes your flavor slightly. Some salt, pepper, chives, and then 2 eggs. So that's what you will need for the first day of making our chicken patties. All right, I guess in many ways this is a 3-day process. So you do have to bake your potatoes ahead of time. I usually let those cool overnight, put them in the fridge. So the first thing we're gonna do when we start putting together our ingredients is we're gonna take 2 large baked potatoes. We're gonna go ahead and peel those. Put them into our mixing bowl, and then we're going to go ahead and mash them ahead of time. So I have my little masher, and I'm just going to mash these so that it blends really well with the ground chicken. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera overhead as I do this. All right, so we'll get these potatoes mashed up, and then we are going to add our ground chicken. All right, I've added my 3 pounds of chicken, and we're just going to blend the potatoes and the chicken together. And then we're going to set this aside and work on getting our herbs together. and get those infused into our meat mix, meat and potato mix. All right, you don't have to make it completely combined because we are going to be mixing this with the herbs and spices. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and put this aside, and I'll be right back. All right, so I have my sage, thyme, and rosemary. Essentially, if you go, like I said, if you go to a Kroger, Meijer, your grocery store, and they have that poultry seasoning pack, one pack is perfect. So you can really flavor to taste. This is perfect amount here. I'm not really even sure how to describe what amount this is. I've got 5 leaves of sage. I've got a little bushel of thyme, and then I have 3 little stalks of rosemary. And that's what I'm going to combine into my little food processor. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. All right, now I stripped the leaves from the stems, and I went ahead and put them in the food processor. Sorry about this. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and we're just going to mix these together. And then you have the option. This is where you have the option to add a lactose-free cheese, and I will show why that's important in just a second. And we just want to mix this up really well. It honestly can be a paste. We just want to combine these flavors because we're going to go ahead and put those in the chicken and the potatoes and let those flavors percolate overnight. All right, and there we have it. All right, now that I have the 3 herbs blended, I'm just going to add a little bit of some shredded lactose-free cheddar cheese. Again, this is completely optional. You do not have to do this. I just like the little bit of cheesiness in the nuggets and the chicken patties. So no more than, I don't know, half a cup. Then you just go back and blend it up. And then we're going to add this to our chicken and potato mix. All right, we are back. We are going to, first of all, add our herbs and cheese mix. We'll just get that in the chicken. There we go. We're going to add half a cup of chives. Half a teaspoon of ground pepper. Half a teaspoon of salt. And then we are going to crack 2 eggs to act as a binder. And then we are going to mix this together into basically a paste. I've always heard these horror stories about how McDonald's makes their chicken nuggets, and I never quite understood what the pink paste really was until I had to make my own chicken nuggets. But yeah, essentially it doesn't look great right now, but after we shape them into our patties, coat them in our panko, and air fry them, they will look and taste absolutely delicious. I have spent years playing around with this recipe. I started the recipe using a dill and like blue cheese mix instead of the parsley, sage, and rosemary. But I don't know, it was good. It was really good. It actually had more of like a Chick-fil-A flavor, and I enjoyed that. But it didn't quite have that fried chicken patty kind of taste to it. And so I went to work and kept trying, and this is what I came up with. And I think this is the best version I have made of my chicken patty to date, and that's why I felt like it was time to share it with you. And there we have it. So yeah, we are going to let this sit overnight. We'll cover it, and we're gonna let it sit overnight in the fridge, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we will shape those into patties and get them air fried. All right, and that is it for part one of chicken nuggets. So I guess what kind of sets mine apart? There are chicken nuggets out there that are gluten-free, but none of them are made without onion and garlic. And that's where my problem really began. I couldn't find anything that was convenient, simple, that was without onion and garlic. So this was my option. I went to work and figured this out. So our chicken, potato, and herb mix are all sitting overnight in the refrigerator. I'll be back tomorrow where I will shape these. We'll dust them in a rice panko mix. And then we'll air fry them, and just to get them to be a little bit brown, we'll put some olive oil butter on top, and that'll get it nice and brown and looking good for us. So thank you for watching Unrestricted Flavor. I'm your host, Mark Dirksing. I'll be back tomorrow with more. Let's start feeling better together.